Let's talk Women Talk.
Hi, I'm Sher-Li. In the previous episode, I shared some tips on how you can prepare a resume that is very employer-centric. In the next two episodes, I'll be focusing in on the interview itself. I'll be sharing with you how you can have a more employer-focused interview, as well as how to have the right mindset. Before you start an interview, it's very important to remember that you have to have the right mindset. So one of the things that some people may fear before going in is to think that, oh, maybe there's going to be a bias against me, the fact that I have not worked for some time. It may or may not be there, but if you set yourself up for fear and thinking that all the questions are going to be directed that way, then the chances are you're not going to do as well. So I think it's very important to remind yourself that you have something to offer, and that's why you've been called in for the interview. And so spend that time before the interview to really prep yourself for that, to have that kind of confidence to walk in. The real question a lot of people take for granted is the first question in every interview. And if you've ever been to an interview, you will know that the first question is always, tell me about yourself. For the employer, the minute you walk into an interview, they start thinking, what do you have to offer me? Why should I hire you? I encourage people to focus in on the tell me about yourself. If your introduction of who you are zooms in on the fact that you're an employee, you are kind of really affirming the interviewer that, hey, I'm ready to come back to the workforce. So for example, hi, I'm Sher-Li, and prior to my career gap, I was working as a lecturer, and right now I'm coming back into a teaching position again because I have teaching skills from my previous experience that I think will be useful for this job. So really from the beginning, start selling and start promoting who you are. Maybe prior to the interview even, you can do some research. You read through the job description, know what they're looking for, read through the company, what are they looking for. See the Q&A that's happening in an interview as rather than just they're asking me a question and I give them an answer, always have it in the back of your mind, I am a salesperson. I'm selling myself, right? Zoom in on the things that they will want. Only then will the employer be able to say, okay, I'm looking at this candidate and there's certain things that she offers to me that will potentially add value to my company, so I will pay attention. Doing research is actually essential. The biggest mistake you can do is go into an interview and ask the company, what exactly do you do? It's game over, okay? And the other thing also is knowing what the role entails, even sometimes trying to find out who is going to interview you. But also be careful, don't send an email to the person who's potentially going to interview you before you go in for the interview. You don't want to appear like a stalker, and by doing that basic research, it really helps you to show the company that I am ready for it. I think the element of honesty is still something that is cherished in interview, but the question is not to tell lies, but sometimes there are certain things you can omit. Now, when I say omit, it doesn't mean you don't talk about it. If you're asked, usually you try to answer as best as you can. But what you omit is, for example, you don't have to give more information than is required. Go in to talk about what are some of the benefits and the potential skills that you took on as a person that the employer will then find value in. For women who have taken a career gap, if they sit down and realistically look at what they've learned, you realize that they are able to identify some skill sets which are useful for the corporate world. So I think it's really about sitting down and asking yourself, what are some of the improvements to my skill sets or to my personality that will allow the employer to get something from it,